Hello everyone and welcome to Victoria's Cantina. In today's video we're going to be following up our recent look at the New 52 Batgirl with a look at the New 52 Nightwing by DC Collectibles. As you can see here, the packaging follows the formula that has been in use for some time now on many DC Collectibles New 52 based figures. It's got the Nightwing emblem there on the top and red coloring off to the side. The back of the packaging gives us a look at Nightwing, Supergirl, Batgirl, and then the same image they've been using of the Justice League figures for some time now. Side of the packaging gives us a look at Nightwing, sculpted by Joseph Minna, and the other side gives us a colored out look at Nightwing. So I'm going to go ahead and get the figure out of the packaging. When we come back, we will take a look at the figure and see what all it has to offer. Alright you guys, and here's a look at Nightwing out of the packaging. All in all, looks pretty good. Nicely done face. The armor looks quite nice. Traditionally, Nightwing has had black and blue coloring on his costume, and for the New 52, they switched the blue to red. So, now it's black and red. I actually really like the look of the black and red better. I think it looks quite cool. The physique of the figure is pretty good. He is very skinny, very thin, and he does look quite boyish. I do think he has a little bit too much of a thigh gap, which we will talk about in just a minute. But overall, the proportions look to be pretty decent. Nightwing also comes with 2 accessories, and we will look at those as well. But first, let me give you a close-up of the face. It's sculpted pretty nicely. It looks quite good. The color of the skin is, fairly natural looking. He's got a little bit of a gloss on his lips. The eyes, of course, are whited out. A little bit of red around them. The mask is, it's actually just painted on. But it looks quite good. The hair is quite boyish. Maybe not a style that's popular right now, but it looks, kind of 90s-ish. Looks pretty good. The armor on him looks quite great, I think. He's got like a matte black. It's very deep black. And then, nice glossy red, which, carries down all the way to his hands. There's a little bit of a belt type thing. Quite good. Sculpting, looks to be pretty good as well. There's some panel lining, just like what we've seen with a lot of the New 52 characters on him. It looks like there's a little bit of texture there on the shoulders, on both arms. But the gauntlets do look quite nice. I like the blades there. I think they look, they're nicely sculpted. I like the shape of them. Pretty modern and similar to what we saw with the New 52 Batman, and also kind of the Dark Knight-esque in appearance. The legs are also quite good. Lots of panel lining and a lot of things going on there. They look pretty good. Again, the figure is kind of lanky-like and, a bit on the skinny side. He has very long, lean legs. And again, a bit of a thigh gap right there, which I think is a little bit too extreme. We kind of saw this with the Arkham City Nightwing figure. But, it's pretty apparent here. It just seems like there's a little bit too much gappage. I'm not sure if that's a word, but it is now going on there. But all in all, it looks pretty good. It's not like, I don't think the sculpt is what I would quite call excellent, but it's good, definitely quite good, and I think, I'm pretty pleased with the way that it turned out. In the way of articulation, Nightwing has a ball joint at the head, though it is very stiff, so you get a little bit of movement out of it, but it is a very stiff joint. He's got ball hinging at both of his shoulders. He's got swivels at his biceps. He's got bends at his elbows, rotations at his gauntlets, and just FYI, these are pretty sharp, so if you give this to a kid, just be careful because those are actually surprisingly sharp. He doesn't have anything going on in the way of the torso articulation, nothing there, but he has a hinging at the hips. They're not that great, the way that they did them. It kind of works, but, the kind of hinges that they employed here, make it very stiff, and, to go forward, it's just very, very tight. So, I think if they re-engineered these a little bit differently, you know, they might work a little bit better, even if you had to see the hinge, because here, you know, maybe that was part of the goal, was to not be able to see it, which you can't, but, you know, it just doesn't work all that great. Nightwing has swivels here at his thighs. He's got bends at his knees, and then he's got bends here at both of his ankles. In the way of accessories, Nightwing comes with 2 of them. He has his batons, and they're actually very small. They're very short, but, you know, I guess they work okay. The coloring on them is just kind of like a gunmetal, very dark gunmetal gray, but, you know, looks decent enough. Now, they are quite a bit difficult to get into his hands, and mine just totally broke on camera. Oh my goodness. Wow. Guys, if you've been watching my reviews lately, you know I haven't been having the best of luck with certain things. So yeah, that just totally broke. I might be able to super glue it, but that's pretty lame. Okay, so I'll use the other one. They're a little bit hard to get into his hands, and that could be why it broke. I don't know, but you know, there it is. And see if I can get the other one in there. And yeah, it's in, but it is broken, so, you know, we'll just need to be cautious with it. Like I said, the batons are quite small. The Nightwing figure from Arkham Origins had pretty long batons. These ones are, you know, very, very small, and obviously pretty fragile since one just broke. But, yeah, he'd have to get very close to an opponent in order to inflict any damage, because they are very, very short. Another thing that's pretty difficult to do is to get the batons into his little clamps that he has. I mean, they're very stiff, and the way that they did them, you know, you kind of have to pull them out in order to get the baton in. It's a pretty tight fit. For the other one, that one's not quite as tight, but it's still a bit tight. But yeah, it's pretty cool how they incorporated that. I like this better than what they did with the Arkham City Nightwing, in which he had him attached there at his back. I think this looks a little bit more practical and a little bit nicer. But again, they are pretty snug in here, and they are pretty small as well. Here's a look at the New 52 Nightwing along with the New 52 Batman. They seem to scale up together pretty well. Obviously, Nightwing's a lot more boyish looking. He's a little bit more slender, and he has very long, skinny legs. But for the most part, I think they scale up pretty nicely, and they do look quite good together. All right, ladies and gentlemen, so there you have it. This is the DC Collectibles New 52 Nightwing 7-inch scale figure. All in all, I think it's a pretty good figure. I think it definitely could have been better. The overall scale of the figure itself is pretty good. I'm not too disappointed with that, though I do think he is a little bit too lanky. His legs are a little bit too long and skinny. The face, I think, is done quite nicely. I think that's one of the better aspects of the figure. The hair looks pretty good. The articulation is relatively plentiful, but it doesn't really work that well. It just seems like the joints are a bit too stiff, and the way that they engineered the hips, you know, it's just a little bit hard to pose him. So, you know, I think that could have been improved upon as well. The accessories are a little bit lame. The batons are just very, very short and very, very fragile. As you guys saw, one of them snapped while I was trying to get it into his hand. A little bit perturbed about that, given my track record with DC Collectibles and things, you know, just not coming out right or right, flat out breaking. Yeah, they are too short. Definitely look kind of like he's drumming, like they're drumsticks or something. So, you know, that's another thing that could have been improved. His hands are a little bit tight. It's kind of hard to get them in. The holsters on his thighs, you know, while a very nice idea, are also pretty hard for them to fit in there. So, overall, I'm relatively pleased with the figure. You know, I'm happy to have it in my collection. I think it looks pretty good. I think if they went back to the drawing board and, you know, just improve those things that I mentioned, you know, it would definitely be a better figure. The coloring, I think, is another strong point here. Very nice, deep black. I really like the glossy red. I think that looks quite good. So all in all, if you're collecting the New 52 Justice League or Batman-related action figures, there is another Nightwing out. There is the Greg Capullo Designer Series version. Though from what I saw in photos, I kind of think this one looked a little bit better, so this is the one that I purchased. I might recommend you checking him out because, you know, you probably want to have Nightwing along with Batman and your other Batman-related characters. But if you're picking and choosing, The figure is a little bit of a disappointment to me in the aspects that I mentioned. So I do kind of recommend him, but if you are being very selective with these figures, you can pass on this one. All right, you guys, that'll do it for this episode of Victoria's Cantina. So always, I want to thank you very much for watching. Until next time, bye-bye.